Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for attending this webinar on getting started with ArcGIS Online. This is our first of 4 ArcGIS Online webinars that will be offered this month on every Wednesday at the same time. My name is Angela Alexander, and I work at Esri Canada in the Education and Research Group. My focus is supporting K-12 educators across the country in their use of GIS. I am responsible for resource development, which includes data creation, maps, lessons, activities, tutorials, and GIS training and technical support for educators. So today I will show you how you can get started with ArcGIS Online, starting with how you can access the software using your Google Apps for Education account. In this session, you will find out where you can access free resources, and you'll have a first look at the ArcGIS Online interface. So let's begin. What is ArcGIS Online? Well, it's a web-based mapping software that's used to make maps, analyze data, and to share and collaborate with others. It can also be used to inquire and explore topics and issues and to present findings in an interactive way. ArcGIS Online can be used across curriculum, grade, and learning levels. All Nova Scotia educators and students can access ArcGIS Online using their Google account. So first you can sign in to your Google account through the GNSPES site. So that's this site here. And once you've signed in, you would look for the ArcGIS icon that's here. And it will take you directly into the site. From there, once you're in ArcGIS Online, you will be able to see what is here on the screen. So this is specifically for the Nova Scotia schools, students and teachers. This ArcGIS Online subscription is what you will be seeing as well once you've signed in. So right now I'm in the home page here, and I wanted to go through some of the resources that you can find on the home page. So the first thing is the Introduction to ArcGIS. This is a collection of tutorials, videos, and other resources that can help you get started with ArcGIS Online. So one example is the Discover ArcGIS Online tutorial. This is a quick tutorial for teachers and students to get a first-hand of the basics of ArcGIS Online. So you don't need an account even to do this, but there's a direct link that you go to, and then you can follow the step-by-step instructions that are pretty clear. So I think this is a really good tutorial for all levels, so from primary to 12 for people that are starting, and also different learning levels as well, because there are images in here, there's not a lot of words, and also for people that are new to the country. Okay, so the next section is the Arc Canada data. So this is a collection of maps, story maps, and other data that you can use in ArcGIS Online. So we can have a look here. So we have a web map here that shows Indigenous peoples in Canada by major linguistic family and by different time frames. And when we click on a feature, we can see information about the particular feature there. In this case, it's in 1823, the specific settlement here that you can see the population, the major linguistic family that this settlement belonged to, including some other information. We can also find story maps in here. These are also ready-to-use resources that a teacher can use and a student. This could be assigned for homework, for example, with questions in here, and the topic and the themes in the activity are linked to curricula across Canada. Okay. The next thing is the resource finder. So this is where you can find the resources that we create. So there are different ways you can use it. You can use it by resource subject. So if you want to find stuff for geography, you can click on geography and you'll see all the different resources that we have. You can also select only geography activities or geography lessons. And when you're ready and you see something that you like, you can click download to view the actual resource. So in this case, this is a lesson. So a lesson has an assignment and a lesson overview. Something like a tutorial would be a PDF. So this is the same Discover ArcGIS Online tutorial that I showed you earlier. So you can explore that. There's also a gallery of resources, and this is great for people that are starting off and would like to use something that's already created, like a story map. So we can go to the geography gallery and we can have a look and see what there is. So I can click on this and open up a story map, and this is ready to use. So a teacher can use this as a presentation, or it can be used for homework. So a teacher would go through it and maybe come up with 5 questions that the students would use for homework, or maybe a class assignment. And all the maps are interactive in the story map, so you can zoom in and out. And keep in mind, the stuff that you're seeing here can also be created, and we can help you with resources on how to create a story map, for example. Okay, so the last thing is creating a story map. So these are some tutorials and other resources that we have that you can use to get started. We do have a session coming up later in the month that is specific to story maps. So I'm just going to touch on this. But here are some of the resources that we have. One of our latest resources is a story map about story maps. And it's about using story maps in K-12 education. So, so a teacher can see, so we use this for our story maps workshop. Just goes through, how you can use story maps in your class and different resources that you can find. So below, in the home page, you can also find information about how you can contact us if you have any questions. Also, there's a link to our website. So if you want to learn more about us, you can click on that, and it will take you to our k12.esri.ca website. And this will also be, this is a great site because if you have questions or if you want to kind of discover things, this is kind of a one-stop site that you can go to. So you can learn about, you can access the resources here, so that's the resource finder. You can find out more information about GIS for your school. There's also our link to our blog post, any case studies, professional development. So you can order books for your class. There's also the GIS Ambassador Program that allows us to connect you with a professional who's using GIS in their work to come and support you and your class. And that could be for a project, it could be for a GIS Day event, pretty much anything that you feel a GIS professional could do in terms of helping you move GIS forward in your work or in your teaching. So we would be happy to connect you with someone. So there's information about that. There's information on where ambassadors are located in Canada. And also we have an award where every month, so we started this last year, every month an ambassador is selected and we highlight them and their work. And so these are the ones from 2018. And we already have somebody lined up for this month from British Columbia. So if you were interested, you can click on, for example, the first person here, Nicholas, and we can click on his name, and this is the blog post about Nicholas and what he's done to support the use of GIS in K-12 education in his region. There's also, I mentioned the blog, so there is a direct link to the blog here, as well as a link to our Twitter feed. So that is GIS for Teachers. And this is another way that you can access, you know, our blogs and our updated, any resources, any new resources, anything that we find that we think is useful for educators to use in their class. So if you are on Twitter, please follow us. Okay, so just going through the ArcGIS online interface here. So I went to the home page. Now the gallery will be different content, so content from different users within your organization. So you'll see here that there are maps created by students and possibly teachers in here as well that you can explore. And then I'm going to go back to the map after, the map section. But then there's the Scene tab, which allows you to view different scenes in 3D. So there's some pre-created ones here that you can click on to explore. You can also bring in data there, so you can see your data in 3D as well. And this one is already set up so that you can go through different views. And then if you're part of groups, your groups will be listed in your group area. And you can access your groups here. So if I was to click on here, I can see the group here with my content in here. And then content is essentially Windows Explorer for ArcGIS Online. So any content that you've created and saved will be saved in the content area. And this is a great place where you can also organize your content. You can select, links or web maps or, you know, feature layers and then move them or change the owner. You can also change the sharing capability. You can delete from here as well. You can also create folders. So on the left side here, you can click on New and create a new folder. And then once the folder is created, you can move items into that folder. And also, if you create favorites, your favorites will be listed in the content area as well. And other things like the groups in here as well. And then the organization is information about your organization. So depending on your level, so teachers are publishers, so their organization view will be different from what mine was. Okay, so the last thing I wanted to talk about was the map tab here. And this is where you would do all your mapping, your analyzing of your maps, you're creating your data, sharing. So all the work is done in this map viewer. This is what the mapping application is called. And this is where you can interact with your web map. So you can search and find data, and you can add it to your map. You can change your base map. So let's do that here. The first thing I'm going to do is I'll just add in a location. And I can change the base map. So you have 10 options. The default base map is the topographic base map. So we can change it to an imagery base map. So depending on what you're mapping, you might want to consider changing your base map. There's also two muted maps where, you know, if you want features to pop out, you might want to use this one. So this is the light gray canvas. And then there's also a dark gray canvas. There's a National Geographic base map, which highlights features in Canada, natural features, including also the national parks. And then if you're doing something about the ocean, like coral reefs, you might want to use the beautiful ocean base map. And there are also two street maps that you can explore. So depending on what you're mapping, you might want to consider changing your base map from the default topographic base map. Another thing you could do here is you can search and add layers, search and add layers to your map. So the first thing I'll do is I'll change this option here to ArcGIS Online, and I will put in Arc Canada. So this is what we use as a keyword for all the content that we create for teachers. And I can add, so what I could do is I can click on here and I can look at the information about that particular layer. And from here I can also add it to the map. And then once I'm done, I can click on this arrow. I can also browse different types of layers. So there's a living atlas layer that allows me to look at different curated data as well. I can also add my own features. So the next session that I'll be doing on the 16th will be specifically creating maps. So I'm just going to go through this very quickly. So once you've added the layer, you can go to the content area, and we can see with this particular layer, there are 7 different layers associated. So we can, right now we're looking at the annual mean temperature, and I can uncheck that and put in to view total snow. I can also change the transparency of the layer so I can see what's underneath. So this is really useful when you have a bunch of layers and you're trying to analyze some information. And I can also change my base map here if I want to. So once I've done that, I can also save my my web map, and I can add in my title in here. And I can also select which folder it goes into. So I mentioned to you in the content area, you can create folders to organize your content. So from here, when you're saving any content, you can also organize it into a specific folder. And once I've once I've saved it, if I make any other changes, I need to save it again. It's something that you have to do. It's not like Google where it automatically saves. So that's something that we remind teachers and students that we work with, that you always have to make sure that you save your content. And then from there, you can also share your content. So you can share it publicly so that anyone can view it. So that also means so someone that's exploring ArcGIS online and is not signed in can view the data or the maps that you've created. You can also just share it to your organization. You can also share it to just a group. So I can select all the groups I'm in, or I can just select one particular group. You can also take the link for the web map. If you want to share that with your class, you can do that here. You can also take it from here at the top. And then there's also the measuring tool that allows you to measure features on your map, or distances or areas. And then a directions tool. And you can create bookmarks. So these are essentially spatial bookmarks. So say you're working on a map and you're doing an area, so you're focusing on the Maritimes, and then you decide that you're doing something across Canada and you're doing something in the prairies. So instead of having to zoom back in and out, especially when you're kind of more zoomed in, you might want to use the spatial bookmarks. So it's very easy to do. You just go to your location and put in here, we'll just put in prairies, and then we can add that, and then move to the next area. And then we can put in another one, maritime. And so that's how it works. Okay, so any changes that you've made, so right now I've created a couple of bookmarks. I need to also save it again. Okay, so thank you for attending the webinar. We're going to have I'm going to open up the lines for questions in just a second. But you can connect with us at K12 at esri.ca. I believe Chris will be sending out the recording as well. And you can also check out anything about us on the k12.esri.ca website. And the next webinar is in a week at the same time, and it will go into depth on how to make your first map, and also finding data, adding it to your map, creating your own data, and then saving and sharing. Okay, does anyone have any questions? Okay. Thank you very much for attending. Oh, hi. Okay, somebody has a comment. Okay. Oh, that's great. Thank you, Laura. And as I mentioned before, please feel free to contact us at k12@esri.ca. We would love to hear from you and love to hear how people are using GIS and how we can support them. We do the blog. I have to write a few blogs a month, so it's always great to hear from people and to highlight the work that they're doing with their students. Please don't be shy, and please contact us if you have any questions. Thank you so much, and I hope to hope you guys join our webinars for the rest of the month. Thank you.